Hello and welcome. This is Terry and this is a species spotlight, orchid spotlight, and this is a bucket list as well. As you can probably guess, this is a Latouria. It's not a bucket list, but it is one that I have just craved. DENDROBIUM or Shiraishi, which I love. Shiraishi, which is not SH, it's CH, but that's another reason why this could be a bucket list plant, and one that is, to me, desirable or personal, or one that would be on my list. But I just love Latourias, period. And this is from one of those sections that are closely allied with, well, it's all in Latouria section, but this particular species is very closely allied with Macrophyllum. And so it's even more special to me because Macrophyllum and Spectabile, Ngai, Convolutum, you can see the lip. Those particular orchids, those species tend to have big, thick clubs that bloom from the top. Now, most Latourias do not bloom from the top, they bloom from the sides. This species is the only one that does bloom from the top, but besides that, it has all the other characteristics. You can see the latest growth is a club, and it could be, we don't know. But what I was saying, it is closely allied with, you can see, there's my Macrophyllum right there, very closely similar in shape. And there is my Spectabile, but Macrophyllum especially. So these come from about the coast up to the foothills of the mountains there. So they do take warm to intermediate temperatures, and just look at the back, just amazing. And that pattern is transparent, or what you call that? It's not opaque, which that is the pattern seen through the back. But anyway, they are warm, tolerant, but they prefer intermediate, and they want to be watered all year round, but they don't want the media to be stale. Some instances this is grown as a lithophyte, but for the most part it grows on trees at low elevations. Gets a constant supply of water. In the winter time or the fall, when it's a little bit off season, or when they're resting a little bit, they're not really resting, they don't want fertilizer. And then when they start to put up new growths or their blooms, which the blooms usually come in late spring into the summer, into the fall, that's when you start the fertilizer. There really is no fragrance, but it's so unique as far as Latourias are concerned. Very, very unique. The way that I will plan on growing this is the same as I grow my other Latourias. They need to be warm, and they still want a decent amount of humidity. I would say 60% would be good. So they can be managed in the home as long as you keep their media fresh. The hard thing about them is when it's time to repot, because you have to repot. And when you do, you have to more or less, it's just best to just cut the pot and not try to pull the plant out. It's best to cut around the plant and then set the existing plant into a bigger pot and then fill it in, like here. and like I did over there. That's a bit of advice because they are difficult to get established in a new situation. They're easier to maintain if you just put their current pot into a new, bigger pot with fresh media on top of that in the direction that they're growing. That will salvage the plant and keep it growing because it needs to be healthy in order to get enough energy to get these pseudobulbs to be so plump. They don't like sun, they like shade, and perhaps that is the reason why mine are doing better this year, because I've got them in shade. They get mostly afternoon sun that still is filtered, and I don't think either one of them are suffering at all. So that is how I plan to grow them. In the winter, they sit under, they sit in the greenhouse off of the floor, but since they're so tall, they sit near the floor, and they get, it's the south facing of course, and they get watered every week when they're moist, when you put your finger in and it's dry. But when they first are repotted, you need to water them a lot and not let them dry out, because you need to sort of pretend that you haven't repotted them, and you need to really supply a constant moisture source to them, really you do, just so that they can continue to push forward the roots that are currently being produced in its current state, so that it does not stop a beat and think that it has just been repotted. You're trying to trick the plant initially. But this is a worthy species, but somewhat temperamental when it's a small plant. I've had difficulty in the past. I am hoping that I have figured them out, because as I've said, I really am done. Would you need to have 2 or 3 of these? No. One big one is enough. But anyway, folks, thanks for watching.